Welcome back to the channel, everybody. This is a post by Real Life Lore, and this is titled, What Does the British Flag Mean? We're going to dive into, the actual meaning and really learn today. So, with that being said, what's smoking all my dragons, divine, righteous, almighty, greats, overachieving, never slacking. Today, we are flying over the pond. And original link in the description if I didn't say that already. Let's get to it. Here we go. Let's find out what the British flag actually means.
Union Jack. The British flag, if you think about it, is kind of a Frankenstein assortment of three different national flags. It's a combination of the flags of England, Scotland, and Ireland. Sorry, Wales. But that can't be the end of this video, so let's dig a little deeper here. To start with the flag of England, which can also be called St. George's Cross, we don't know exactly where or how it originated inside of England. It is known that in 1188, the kings of England and France both decided to go on a crusade together, and in order to distinguish their armies, the English used a white cross and the French used a red cross. Somehow and at some time, the English may have adopted the red cross that was used by the French. There is a legend that King Richard the Lionheart on the Third Crusade adopted the symbol for usage in the English crusading armies, but it's pretty unclear historically. The first recorded use of the red cross on a flag within England dates back to its use as a maritime flag used within the English Navy in 1545. During the English Reformation, St. George rose to be.
This stuff goes so far back. I mean, when you say 1535, 1935 sounds ancient. 1935 sounds like fossils to me. So when you say like 1535, it really just goes to show like time. Time is like, oh man, time flies. It really does.
Become the primary patron saint of England, and all the religious flags other than his own were abolished within the country. This left a lot of room for his cross to become even more associated with England. Moving on to the Scottish flag, which is also called St. Andrew's Cross, its origins revolve around the martyr of St. Andrew. St. Andrew is the patron saint of Scotland, and according to legend, he was crucified on an X-shaped cross. The familiar X shape with the image of St. Andrew crucified.
See, I'm gonna want to dive into that Scottish history. That is very interesting. He was crucified on an X-shaped cross.
X-shaped cross. The familiar X shape with the image of St. Andrew crucified first began to appear in Scotland in 1180 during the reign of William I. That image would also be depicted on official seals within Scotland during the late 13th century. The image of St. Andrew would be removed to form a more simple X shape sometime in the 14th century. And then in 1385, the Scottish Parliament ordered that Scottish soldiers serving abroad in France had to wear a white X on their armor to distinguish themselves. The first confirmed historical usage of the familiar white X with a blue background on a flag inside Scotland was in 1542, 3 years before the English first used St. George's Cross in their navy. The first edition of the Union Jack flag originated in 1606. 3 years earlier, in 1603, James I of Scotland had inherited both the English and Irish thrones, and in addition to Scotland ruled all three kingdoms. Despite how the three kingdoms were all ruled by the same monarch, they each remained separate. But James ordered a new flag to symbolize the union between his native kingdom of Scotland and the Kingdom of England, and so two different versions were created. There is the more familiar English version of the flag, which was used in England, and the less familiar Scottish version, which was of course used in Scotland. Both of these flags were used in limited forms because both kingdoms remained politically separate until the Acts of Union in 1707 formally united England and Scotland into the same country, Great Britain. After the Acts of Union, the English version of the flag became the official flag of the new country. But that still leaves out the red X shape, which symbolizes Ireland. The red X on a white background is known as St. Patrick's Saltire. It is a symbol of St. Patrick and began to be associated with Ireland as a whole only in the 1780s. It was adopted as the symbol of the Order of St. Patrick, which was an order created by the English King George III. Ironically, as a consequence of this, many Irish nationalists have rejected this flag as a British invention to represent Ireland for themselves. The flag had some usage in Ireland before 1783, but it's rather unclear. It was used on the coat of arms of the powerful Fitzgerald family in Ireland, and it also appears on the back sides of some Irish coins minted around 1480 in honor of the Fitzgeralds. So before 1801, Ireland had been a part of a personal union inside Great Britain, but on January 1st, 1801, the kingdoms of Great Britain and Ireland were formally united into the nation now named the Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland. In order to represent this addition of Ireland into the kingdom, the flag was again changed with a red X cross so that all three kingdoms would be represented on one single flag. Again, poor Wales, even now nobody has figured out a good way to fit you onto the already crowded flag. Even without representing Wales, this Union flag has remained in place even after the majority of Ireland left the United Kingdom. The red X cross now represents Northern Ireland, which still remains a part of the kingdom. In addition to being the flag of the United Kingdom, the flag has been used on several other national flags that used to be a part of the British Empire. It was a part of the United States' flag until 1777 when a certain rebellion changed all of that.
Could you imagine if it was still part of the U.S. flag to this day? How different things would be, or just I can't imagine it. I can't. It's just diving into these timelines seriously blows my mind. When we go all the way back like that, and I just think like, cause I'm always like, man, time's flying. Things are just happening so quick. Things are changing so quick. You don't realize that you're always making history. History is always being made. I mean, we living in a time where the Gulf of Mexico was just changed to the Gulf of America. It's like sometimes you don't even really take the time to like let it all sink in and fathom like you're living in history. Like there hundreds and thousands of years they're gonna be talking about what happened in the times now. And there's gonna be somebody who's around my age that's like, man, I can't even fathom 2025. Like 2025 one day is gonna be ancient. That I don't know if that's not mind blowing to y'all. It's just this whole dynamic of the world and the universe and time is just so interesting to me. Wow. I mean, we have ancestors that lived through all this and way before this. There was times that was way ancient before this, and before that it's just then so much was lied about and rewritten and so much truths lost. And oh man, it's history is so interesting.
Part of the Canadian flag all the way up until 1965 when they voted to change it, a small part of the South African flag up to 1994 when apartheid finally ended, and continues to remain a part of the national flags of New Zealand, Australia, Tuvalu, the Cook Islands, Fiji, and the Canadian provinces of British Columbia, Ontario, Manitoba, and Newfoundland, as well as the United States state of Hawaii. And as for the English flag with St. George's Cross, it is also found on the flag of Alberta, Canada. With current events like the New Zealand flag referendum and the Scottish referendum to leave the United Kingdom in 2014, the status of the UK flag around the world and the status of the UK flag itself is still subject to change. What would the UK flag have looked like if Scotland had voted to leave the Union in 2014? Would the United Kingdom even have been called the United Kingdom anymore? What interesting future events might change this iconic flag? Leave your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to subscribe if you have not already. Thank you as always for watching.
That was a good question at the end. To all my Brits out there, do y'all feel like there could be something, as he stated, future events that could possibly ever change that flag? I mean, you can't leave. The possibilities are endless, and nothing's impossible, especially in the times we live in now. Who knows what rebellions could happen or what things could just change around. But yeah, history, once again, history is very interesting, can be very deceiving, and just, oh man, you got to be careful with history. I tell you, when you're looking in and you just, it's just so much missing pieces to a lot of things due to a lot of rewritten history too. And you know, when I watch shows like, I've talked about it before, The Last Kingdom with Uhtred the Viking, but he was like raised in England. Um, there was a scene where the King of England told him, you know, like, I control history. What I write in these books is what people are gonna believe. And he was letting them know, like, I'm not gonna, even though you saved us in this battle we just had, they're not gonna even know your name because I'm not gonna write you in because I control this. So that's what I mean when I say history can be very, very deceiving. Crazy, crazy, crazy. But I'm just still stuck on time. Just time is crazy. If I had, you know, this is one of the moments where it's like, man, I really do wish I had a time machine like Marty McFly in Back to the Future, where I could just go and just check out all these scenes and check out how times really were, check out how people really looked, check out how, you know, how things really happened, and just see it and feel and not just see it with my own eyes, but actually get to feel the emotion as things kept changing, and just how even the everyday people felt, and how their lives were. I wonder how that would change me as a person today if I was able to get in a time machine and do that. You know, seriously, that would be incredible. But with that being said, who knows? Maybe soon we'll start having time machines. You know. I mean, our phones pretty much are. And if you think about it, we can go back and relive moments from 10 years ago, looking at ourselves. I mean, in the sense that's, old recordings is kind of like going back in time. And I guess I'm going somewhere with that. But with that being said, I'm going to wrap this video up. Original link in the description. If you enjoyed this, definitely don't hesitate to comment, like, or hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. And I'll be back with more. Much love.